But let's introduce the Honourable Minister for Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Barrister Hanatu Musawa. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning, thank you. I apologize for being late, but I knew my brother,
You
Mr.
had
Obi
a lieutenant
Asika.
that is capable. A lieutenant
Absolutely,
capable?
beyond capable. That's an understatement of the century.
All right, but let's run you into this straight up. What are the critical initiatives that you've implemented in the last 2 years to drive the creative sector?
Thank you very much, for having me here. This is a very important conversation, especially at this time in Nigeria's evolution, so to speak. I will always speak from the prism and from the vision that Mr. President has. I always speak about that. He has a vision to diversify. He wants to do something very different. He wants to give generations of Nigerians that don't have maybe the capacity to work or to access some of the more elitist, approaches or some of the more elitist platforms. So in his view is we need to diversify. Everything isn't about oil. And one of the areas that he saw it was important for us to diversify was obviously in the area of creative industry. But beyond that, to also look at our culture that has a huge amount of resource and to see how we can leverage on that to diversify economic growth, job creation, visibility, changing the narrative about Nigerian, using what really makes Nigerians tick, our culture, using what makes the global community excited about being a Nigerian or tapping into what it is or means to be a Nigerian. So when my ministry came along, we looked at the vision that Mr. President has. He wanted something long-term. So we set into motion an 8-point agenda. That 8-point agenda was a sort of holistic approach to reaching or given the deliverables that Mr. President so wanted. That 8-point agenda, obviously, number one, looked at PPP. And I will say PPP because everything that we do has to be interwoven with PPP because governments come and go. But when you have something with the private sector, especially, for example, some of what we're doing with the subnationals, you give people within those states first right of refusal. It has a propensity of outlasting governments, of outlasting administrations and outlasting different generations. So my government has implemented a number of things that would look towards expanding that. I saw Mr. Obi spoke about economic expansion. So that is one of the things that we have concentrated on. Certain initiatives such as the Abuja Creative City is really looking to create a sort of one-stop shop in Abuja within the 49 or so subsectors. And I know Obi has already spoken about that, but I will reiterate it. We want to turn Nigeria into the creative and cultural hub of Africa, and we have the potential to do that. So by creating this city in Abuja and also expanding it to the different states with a renewed hope cultural and creative project. I just came back from Ogun State yesterday and we signed the MOU with the federal government and Ogun State government to see how we can put our forces together within the cultural and creative and the tourism landscape to have this economic expansion, not only for the state, but for the federal government as well. Because we want to bring the value. We want to increase the value, right? So this is one of the areas, of course, creative hubs. We're also looking at putting into place creative hubs. We've already signed with Katsina State. That's going to start. I'm looking, hopefully, to bring this creative hubs. We have one in the 6 geopolitical zones. There's going to be one in Kwara. There's going to be one in Katsina. There's going to be one in Enugu State. There's going to be obviously one in Lagos. There's going to be one in Borno State. And I think there's going to be one... there's another state.
What would these creative hubs be focused on?
Well, creative hubs are creative hubs. What they focus on is essentially, number one, capacity building. Capacity building for young creatives that don't have the opportunity or the access to be able to assess some of the other opportunities maybe that the elitist creatives seem to have. So creative hubs, you have capacity building, and you also have networking. You also have access maybe to different funding structures. I don't know if Mr. Obi also spoke about CLAP. We have the Creative Leap Acceleration Program, which is an online platform for, again, another one-stop shop for creatives. For creatives to converge. So the CLAP is already up. We launched it last year, but we're trying to bundle it with the different opportunity and different networks that will be able to give the sort of service that we're looking for. So this is networking, this is again capacity building, this is training, this is access to funding, this is every single thing.
Fantastic, Honourable Minister.
Can I just finish that
go
sentence?
ahead.
This is every single thing that a creative would need in order to be able to grow their businesses on their own, but they don't have that opportunity to. So we're taking it directly down to the grassroots and given a platform where people can be able to access it.
Fantastic.